Gotta love that they stuck to the rule of having at least one hand job scene per hour. Is that a rule? I don't... Okay.
Promise you won't betray him. I promise.
Adrian Brody is a put-upon genius around World War II time. Yeah, if they put away the architecture stuff and pulled out a piano, this could have been a sequel to The Pianist really easily. Like, dude loves taking on this kind of role. Might get the Best Picture award this time. The Brutalist is about Laszlo Toth, who moves to America in 1947 after being in a concentration camp and moves in to work with his cousin, make furniture. From there he meets a benefactor who gives him work to become an architect like he was back home. He works towards bringing his wife and niece over to join him in America and stares at things. There's an awful lot of staring at things, just intensely like... This film is beautifully made. I think it has a great overarching message. I can't take credit for this, but I heard somebody else say that it's kind of like the first half is this picture of what people think the American dream is going to be, that sort of thing. The second half tears that down. Lights it on fire, takes a shit on it, that kind of thing. So it's not really a film that is taking aim or like at like anti-Semitism or like hatred about or towards the Jewish community so much as it is about a more generic immigrant experience coming to America. You know, the way Americans treat immigrants, that sort of thing. The Brutalist is a long watch, obviously. We're talking 15 minutes of intermission in the cinema long. We're talking 5th longest film ever nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards long. We're talking two very different separate halves of film here, because the first half is breathtaking. The opening sequence is nuts. Watching the opening 10 minutes, I seriously believed I might be about to watch 3.5 hours of pure art. And I was seriously impressed the whole way to the intermission. After that, now several things changed at intermission. And there's mildly spoilery talk here because it's 3.5 hours long. So I can talk about stuff that happened 2 hours into the film and it doesn't feel as much like spoilers. Anyway, so Felicity Jones, playing his wife, joins him in America after the intermission. And it just felt to me like such an moment because it refused to show her in the first half of the film. Like, it was really building this up. And his, like, desire, his desperation to get her there to join him, like, it just felt like this crescendo, and it was rising and rising. And then suddenly they take intermission right before they meet, and it just kills all the hype a little bit. And then you come back from intermission, and they meet and they reunite, and the scene is just kind of like, okay. Another problem for me is that the film does slow down in the second half. It did not fly by for me in the same way that the first half did. Maybe that is, intentional a little bit. Maybe it's because I was getting tired a little bit. But it did massively. And then it kind of comes back at the end and does save itself and redeem itself somewhat. But still, there's just no escaping that. There's no escaping the question is always going to be, did it actually need to be that long? And that is the question for me, because as much as I feel like there is a lot of story here, there's a lot to do, you absolutely could have fit this inside 3 hours. Like, it could have been 3 hours on the dot long instead of 3 hours 40. None of that is to say that I don't like this, okay? I just feel like a 3 hour 40-minute film, you can't judge it by normal standards, The word epic means that either it's epic or it's a letdown, okay? And for me, maybe a little bit of a letdown, not a big one. It is very impressive. The fact that this was actually made entirely on a 10 million budget is unfathomable. I think it's incredible what they've done considering that. The opening is breathtaking. Felicity Jones' performance is nuts. That one scene with her near the end, Adrian Brody and Guy Pearce, they're incredible as the kind of two separate sides of this coin. Felicity Jones, as I already said, is amazing. Film is built on the backs of those three performances, in addition to just great cinematography. I think the script is very well written at times, but you could have cut a few pages out of there. And I think that is a bit of a shame. It's because you're going to look at a film like this, you're going to go, wow, it's that long? Is this an epic piece of cinema history, or is it just like a bit too long, a bit too big for its britches? And I can't honestly say that it's an epic piece of cinema history. Not to me. So, I'm giving The Pianist 2 Electric Boogaloo 4 stars. I feel like the epic length for films is coming back into fashion, and I can't honestly say that I'm excited about that, because I feel like some directors just need to put their ego aside and say, does this film actually need to be this long? Like, do I really need to be one of those directors with a 3-hour plus film? Usually the answer, no, you don't do it. Subscribe for more hard truths.